Good morning, my dear students. I am teacher Aliaa Ashraf from Mansoura Royal School Science Department. Our session today is related to grade 4. We will explain the main aims of Unit 1 shortly and then illustrate Lesson 1, the Human Digestive System, in details. On Unit 1, we're gonna study the differences between living organisms and non-living things by giving some examples of each one. Living organisms as humans, plants, and animals, while non-living things as soil, wood, and water. Let's compare between the humans and soil. For example, the human can breathe, can eat, can drink, can feel, can move, while soil cannot. Also, the animal can breathe, can move, can eat, can feel, can drink, while the wood cannot. So, now I can easily recognize the living organisms by knowing their characteristics, which are: the first one, motion. Motion, its ability to move. Nutrition, its ability to eat or drink. Respiration, the ability to breathe. Excretion means the small drops of water that form above our skin during exercising. Sensation, the ability to feel. Reproduction is to have a new baby inside your family. Okay? So the characteristics of living organisms are motion, nutrition, respiration, excretion, sensation, reproduction. Okay? We said that the human body is a living organism. So now we want to know the structure of our body by asking this question. What's your body made up of? The body of living organism consists of a group of systems. Each system consists of a group of organs. Each organ consists of a group of tissues. Each tissue consists of a group of similar cells. If I want to define the body of living organisms, I'm gonna say it's a group of different systems that work together in full harmony. Why? They are working together in full harmony to keep the human alive. The system is a group of organs that work together. An organ is a group of tissues that work together. The tissue is a group of similar cells that work together. Okay? In the last slide, we define the body of living organisms by saying it's a group of different systems that work together. What are these systems? You will take only 6 of them. The first one, the digestive system. Its function to digest and absorb the food. Number 2, the respiratory system. 2, it's responsible for breathing process or respiration process. Why? To produce energy. Why? To digest the food that we eat. Okay? So the digestive system, its function to digest and absorb the food. The respiratory system, its function to produce energy by breathing process or by respiration process. Why? To produce energy to digest the food that you eat. Okay? The circulatory system, it's responsible for transport function. What's the meaning of transport? To deliver something from one place to another. Okay? So the circulatory system, responsible for transport function, which is to transport or deliver or distribute the digested food and oxygen to all the body cells. The urinary system. The urinary system is responsible for cleaning the body from harmful wastes. Responsible for cleaning the body from harmful wastes. Number 5, the nervous system. The nervous system responsible for feeling, hearing, smelling, tasting, and seeing, which are the 5 senses. Number 6, reproductive system, to produce new individuals of same types of us. Okay? This is the end of the introduction of Unit 1. Now, we will turn to Lesson 1, which is the human digestive system, and start our lesson by the definition of the digestion process. The digestion process is the breaking down or changing of complex form of food into simple substances to let the body benefit from them. The breaking down or changing of complex form of food into simple substances to let the body benefit from them. What that mean? If I take a piece of bread, I can consider it's a complex form of food, and I put this piece of bread inside my mouth, and my teeth start to cut this piece of bread into small pieces. These small pieces called simple substances because I make it more simple. Okay? After that, I swallowing this piece of bread. It reaches to my stomach and then complete its digestion. Okay? So, your body starts to digest food on mouth. Because if you remember, I put the piece of bread inside my mouth. So my teeth start to cut and tear this small piece of bread into smaller substances. So the digestion starts in mouth. Okay? We will mention the name of organs in the digestive system, starting from the first one. Salivary glands, salivary glands, salivary glands, pharynx, 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 esophagus, 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 mouth, 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 liver, 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 stomach, 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 pancreas, 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 gallbladder, 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 large intestine, large intestine, large intestine, small intestine, small intestine. This word has two pronunciations. I can call it intestine or intestine. So, the small intestine or small intestine, large intestine or large intestine. Rectum, 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 anus, anus, anus. So, salivary glands, pharynx, pharynx, esophagus, mouth, liver, stomach, pancreas, gallbladder, large intestine, small intestine, rectum, anus. The human body has two cavities. The first cavity exists in here and called chest or thoracic cavity. Chest or thoracic cavity. And the second one exists here and called abdominal cavity. Abdominal cavity. So the human body has two cavities. The first one, chest or thoracic cavity, and the second one, it's called abdominal cavity. Okay, most organ of the digestive system exist here. So most organ of the digestive system exist in abdominal cavity. While most organ of the respiratory system that we will study in the next lesson exist in chest or thoracic cavity. So the organ of digestive system exists in abdominal cavity, while the organ of respiratory system exists in a chest or thoracic cavity. Okay? We will turn to our lesson. Most organ of digestive system exist in cavity called abdominal cavity. Okay? The digestive system consists of two main parts, which are the digestive canal and digestive canal supplementaries. Digestive canal and digestive canal supplementaries. The digestive canal, it's a long pipe with length from 9 to 10 meters that starts with mouth opening and ends with anus opening. Okay? They contain organs which are mouth, pharynx, esophagus, stomach, small intestine, large intestine. Okay? The large intestine, there's two parts that attach to it, which called rectum and anus. Okay? As you see in this picture, this is the large intestine, and there are two parts attached to the end of large intestine, which are called rectum and anus. Okay? The organs of the digestive canal supplementaries are salivary glands, liver, pancreas. Salivary glands, liver, pancreas. Okay? Let's start by mouth cavity. The mouth consists of teeth, tongue, and salivary glands. Teeth, tongue, and salivary glands. We have two jaws inside our mouth. The upper jaw, this is the upper jaw, and the lower jaw, this is the lower jaw. Okay? So we have two jaws inside our mouth, the upper jaw and the lower jaw. There is two types of mouth, the adult mouth and the mouth of young persons. The adult mouth contains teeth, which are called adult teeth, while the young mouth contains teeth, which are called milk teeth. Okay? So I have also two types of teeth, the adult teeth and the milk teeth. In our lesson, we will study the adult teeth, okay, which exists in the adult person. The mouth of adult person contains 32 teeth. Each jaw contains 16 teeth that classified into 4 incisors, 2 canines, and 10 molars. 4 incisors, 2 canines, and 10 molars. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4. This is the 4 incisors. Okay? 1, 2. This is the 2 canines. 2 canines. 1, Let's change the pen color. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. These are the 10 molars. The 10 molars. Okay? And this 4 called 4 incisors. 4 incisors. So each jaw contains 4 incisors, 2 canines, and 10 molars. And they also exist in the lower jaw. 1, 2, 3, 4. The 4 incisor. 1, 2, the 2 canines, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, the 10 molars. Okay? So the mouth cavity, it's a cavity that contains teeth, tongue, and salivary glands, and also have 2 jaws, the upper jaw and the lower jaw. Each jaw contains 16 teeth, and the whole mouth contains 32 teeth. The 16 teeth classified into 4 incisors, 2 canines, and 10 molars. Okay? We have 4 premolars and 6 molars in this 10. So the 10 molars classified into 6 molars and 4 premolars. 6 molars and 4 premolars. Okay? Let's see. I will erase that. The first 2 molars here and the first 2 molars here called premolars. And 2 and plus 2 equal 4. So I have 4 premolars and 6 molars. Okay, I have 4 premolars and 6 molars. The tongue. The tongue responsible for tasting food and turn the food inside the mouth cavity, and also mix the food with saliva. So the function of tongue tasting process, so it's responsible for tasting food, turns the food inside the mouth cavity, mix the food with saliva, which is the liquid that found inside our mouth. Okay? This picture show us the parts of tongue which is responsible for tasting different types of food. The first part is the front part of the tongue, which is responsible for tasting sweets, and the second part responsible for tasting the sour food, and the third part responsible for tasting salts, and the last one responsible for tasting the bitter food. Okay? The sweets like candy, sour, like lemon, salty, like the salt, bitter, like orange or pepper. Let's talk about the salivary glands. They are 3 pairs. 2 found under the tongue, 1, 2, and 2 found in front of the ear. 1 exists here and the other exists in the other part of the face, and 2 exist in front of pharynx, one here and the other here. Okay, so it has 3 pairs, and or I can say it's 6 pieces. Okay, 3 pairs or 6 pieces. The salivary glands secrete saliva to digest starch in the food into sugar because they contain digestive enzymes. So, the function of salivary glands to secrete saliva, which is responsible for digest starch in the food into sugar. The starch that exists inside our food, like the starch that found inside the bread that we eat, or the rice, the potato, and so on. So the saliva start to digest these types of starch that found inside our food and convert it into sugar because they contain digestive enzymes. The definition of digestive enzymes: they are digestive substances that digest food into simple substances. They are digestive substances that digest food into simple substances. Okay? This definition is very important. Digestive enzymes, they are digestive substances that digest food into simple substances. So, the mouth consists of teeth, tongue, salivary glands. We have 2 jaws inside our mouth, the upper jaw and the lower jaw. Each jaw contains 16 teeth because the mouth contains 32 teeth. This 16 teeth classified into 4 incisors, 2 canines, and 10 molars. Okay, and we also classify the 10 molars into 4 premolars, which found in the front, and 6 molars, which found in the back. Okay, and then we said that the tongue, responsible for tasting food, turns the food inside the mouth cavity, mixes the food with saliva, and we describe the parts that are responsible for tasting the food. And finally, the salivary glands, they are 3 pairs or 6 pieces, responsible for secrete saliva that digest starch into sugar because they contain digestive enzymes, and we said the definition of digestive enzymes. Now we will describe the second part inside the digestive canal, which is the pharynx. Pharynx, it's a common cavity which is lead to trachea and esophagus. Okay, it's a common cavity leads to trachea and esophagus. Let's see. This is the trachea. This is the trachea. And this is the esophagus. Okay, this part is called pharynx. This part is called pharynx. This part is called pharynx. So it's a common cavity between trachea and esophagus. Common cavity between trachea and esophagus. Let's see in this diagram to be more understand. This is the mouth of us.
Mouth.
Okay? And this part called pharynx.
Pharynx. Pharynx.
The pharynx leads to, let's remove this part. The pharynx leads to the trachea and esophagus.
Esophagus.
Okay, so the pharynx,
Pharynx.
common cavity leads to trachea and
Esophagus.
okay, as you see here, this is the mouth,
Mouth.
and this part
Pharynx.
and this part trachea, and this is the esophagus. So the pharynx leads to the trachea and the esophagus. Okay, let's return to our lesson. The next point, esophagus. The esophagus is a muscular tube that allows food to go from mouth to stomach. It's a muscular tube, as you see, that allows the food to go from mouth to stomach. Okay? Muscular tube that allow the food to go from mouth to stomach. Let's talk about the stomach. The stomach, it's like a sack or bag. Sack or bag. And like a muscular organ because it contains a muscle that contract or relax. Okay? And excrete juice that's called gastric juice or digestive juice. The function of this juice to digest protein incompletely. For example, if I take a small piece of meat or chicken and I put it inside my mouth, and then my teeth grind it, and I swallowing it until it reaches to the stomach. The digestion of this piece of meat start inside the mouth. Start inside the stomach. Okay, the digestion of this piece of meat starts to digest in the stomach, while the piece of bread or the piece of or the spoon of fries start to digest in mouth. Okay, so any substance or any type of food that contains starch start to digest in mouth, while any type of food that contain protein started to digest in stomach. Okay, because it contain a gastric juice that digests protein incompletely. Now we will talk about the small intestine. What is the definition of the small intestine? It's largest organ in the human body. The largest organ in the human body, exactly inside the digestive system, because its length equals 7 meters. Okay, 7 meters from the digestive canal. If you remember, the length of digestive canal equal from 9 to 10 meters. 7 meters of them for the small intestine. Okay, and the small intestine consists of two main parts, which are the duodenum, it's called the first part, and the last part is called ileum. Okay, so the small intestine consists of two main parts, duodenum and ileum. And in the future you will know that the small intestine consists of three parts, which are called duodenum, and the second part exists here, which is called jejunum, and the last part which attached to the large intestine called ileum. Okay? The duodenum is the first part of the small intestine, in which the bile juice and pancreatic juice are poured in it. The bile juice is excreted from liver, as you see in this picture, this part called liver, which is near to the duodenum, which is the end of the stomach and the beginning of the small intestine. So the juice that is excreted by the liver poured in the duodenum, and here the organs which are called pancreas, which excrete pancreatic juice and poured it inside the duodenum. Okay? The function of bile juice to digest fats and convert it into fatty emulsion. To digest fats and convert it into fatty emulsion. This is the function of bile juice. While the function of pancreatic juice to adjust the sugar ratio inside the human body. To adjust the sugar ratio inside the human body. What about ileum? Ileum is the second part of the small intestine, in which the intestinal juice is poured. What is the function of intestinal juice? The intestinal juice responsible for digest different types of food completely. So, if I swallowing the piece of bread without grinding it into small or very small pieces, so it's not digested completely. It will go to the stomach and then the small intestine. Inside the ileum in the small intestine, this small parts of bread that doesn't digest completely will be digested completely by the intestinal juice. Okay? And then this that the all types of food that I eat, it absorbed inside the ileum, which found inside the small intestine. Okay, so the function of the intestinal juice, or I can say the function of the small intestine, it's to digest different types of food completely and absorb the digested food. Okay? What about the large intestine? The large intestine starts at the end of the small intestine. As you see, the ileum is the last part of the small intestine. So, the large intestine starts at the end of the small intestine, while it ends with anus. So, the large intestine starts at the end of the small intestine and ends with anus. Okay? While anus starts from the end of rectum. Anus starts from the end of rectum. This is called rectum. So the anus starts from the end of rectum. Okay? What is the function of large intestine? The function of large intestine is to store wastes until get rid of them through anus. Okay, so the large intestine store wastes. That curved line describe the wastes. Okay, so the large intestine store this wastes until our body get rid of them through what? Through anus. Okay, but before our body get rid of them, they lay for a short time inside the rectum. Okay, why? Because rectum absorb the water that found inside these wastes. Okay, so the function of rectum to absorb water from wastes. that is stored inside the large intestine before we get rid of them through anus. Okay? Okay. The last point inside our lesson, how to keep the digestive system healthy. How to keep the digestive system healthy. Number 1, chew the food well. Chew the food well. Number 2, don't buy food from street seller. Why? To avoid infectious diseases. Number 3, don't eat much food contain flavor additives like chips. Number 4, don't eat food that contain much fats as fast meal. Number 5, practice sports regularly. Practice sports regularly. This is the end of our lesson. See you later, and the next online session we will illustrate the human respiratory system. Okay, see you later and goodbye.